Hello, my name is Tim Moody. I'm the Public Information Officer with the Randolph County School System. We're here with our Superintendent, Dr. Stephen Gainey, and it's our chance again for our monthly From the Desk Of interview with RTV, and we're grateful again for the opportunity to reach out to the community and to share with you some of the things that are going on in the school system and in our schools. Dr. Gainey, I think it was Mark Twain who is attributed the quote of, "Everybody talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it." Well, everybody is talking about the weather this week, and while we haven't done anything about the weather, we certainly have done some things with the impact of the weather on our schools. So can you just tell us a little bit about this week and some of the things that have happened?
Well, Tim, it's been a pretty interesting week with the weather. We can't control the weather. I wish we could. But we have been out of school all week. We had a teacher work day for 30 of our 31 schools on Monday. The early college was in session, but because of the weather on Monday, we had to release the early college at 1 o'clock. And, every day once we had the initial weather come in on Monday evening, Monday night, the rest of the week did not look good as far as getting back in school. And in fact, we did wind up canceling every day this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And, we have to always do what's best for everybody's safety, and it can get frustrating at times, but the same token is want to make sure everybody's safety is maintained, whether it's students, the staff, and parents. So we just erred on the side of safety all week, and it's been a tough week from that end. Roads are about to clear. We need this weekend to help us. Some temperatures will get on up there and help us some more, and hopefully we'll be back ready to go Monday morning and get back in routine. We've had a great year, and just hate that we've had this interruption this week.
Right. So I know also we've had some impact on scheduling with athletic events and that type of thing. Can you give us a bit of an update there?
Well, it's unfortunate. This makes 2 winters in a row that the conference basketball tournaments have been canceled. We had a very similar situation last year. Right at this time, we had snow last year, and so unfortunate there because I have the great pleasure of getting to move around the county and see a bunch of different schools participate in athletic activities, and we have some very competitive teams, and it would have been a great week to see that tournament play out for the girls and the boys. But now we're going to move into state playoffs with basketball. Another area is tonight we have, or today, we have 21 wrestlers from the Randolph County School System competing in the state championships for North Carolina. So it's been tough because not only have some events been canceled in basketball, but practices have been canceled this week. So it really it does interrupt a lot of things that we try to do for kids and a lot of plans that teachers and coaches have made for kids. But again, it goes back to we can't control the weather, and we need to do what's best for everybody's safety.
Right. Another big story from earlier in the month was when the state released report cards for all the schools in the state. It's a pretty comprehensive report on school information and school performance. Can you share a little bit with us about that? Well,
Tim, that was the first time those grades have come out. It was for the performance of schools during the 2013-2014 school year. What we're going to use this as is another piece of data for accountability for our schools. Our focus has always been, for the last 20 months now, is continually working to continually get better. Quite frankly, that's been my focus on every role I've been in the last 22 years, whether it's been a principal, an assistant principal, a teacher, or assistant superintendent, and now this role. So we're going to use that as a piece of data. It's not the only indicator of the progress of our schools, but we're going to use that and like we do all other data from the state and let it help us drive our efforts to continuously improve. We have some great things going on throughout this county. I don't want anybody to get any of our staff or kids or parents to lose confidence in what we're doing. But at the same token, for them to maintain confidence in what we're doing, we have to continue to focus on getting better every day. And so it's been a much anticipated school grade process. It's been something that's been in the making for at least a year now. We knew those were coming out, and those grades, and so we're gonna take this information and use it to get better.
Okay. Normally, when we sit down for our monthly interview for RTV, it's immediately following a board meeting, but because of the weather and the havoc that was wreaked on schedules, included in some of the changes that we made was the board meeting scheduled for this past Monday night, the 16th. It is now rescheduled for the upcoming Monday, February the 23rd. And I know we've got some things on the agenda for that evening, including recognizing Ramseur Elementary staff for something a bit unusual that happened a few weeks ago.
Yes, Tim, and you know, I don't know if I can say I've been in this business for a long time, but this is year 22 for me. And what happened on February 4th at Ramseur Elementary School was pretty unusual. It was a very unusual event. We had 4 deer crash through the front windows of that school. And but also what happened that day is what happens every day in public schools. Every day in public schools across North Carolina and this country, you have teachers who come to school and their focus is to help children learn and to grow and to get better. But one thing that I think sometimes people forget is they're never going to do anything. Public school teachers and public school staff members are never going to do anything to jeopardize the safety of kids. And what happened that day was we had 4 deer that entered the building. They went into the hallways, 2 went into classrooms, but we had a large staff that did what they do every day. They took care of kids. They kept kids in classrooms and maintained order in the building. And the other side of it is somewhere there were kids that were probably upset because of what was going on, because it was in some ways an emergency. I mean, who would have ever thought that would happen? But when you step back from it, it's just one more definition of what's good about public schools. Public schools, teachers come every day with the best interest of kids as their priority, and I'm really proud of Tammy Abernathy, Melanie Ritchie. Tammy's the principal, Melanie's the assistant principal, and the rest of the staff. I won't get into all the names of the staff, but we're going to recognize them Monday night, because that is one of those clear examples of the unexpected happened, and teachers and principals and staff rose to the occasion. Maintenance staff dropped what they were doing and went out and cleaned up the building. We also had a lot of support from out in the community, from support services in the community, law enforcement and emergency service people. So I do want to say thank you to them, but it was a pretty unusual event.
It was. Dr. Gainey, one of the agenda items for the work session on the 23rd is something called Goal 2019. Can you tell us what that is?
Tim, Goal 2019 is something that we talked about in the spring of 2014. And then with the summer months and with the board elections, we had 2 board members leave the board and 2 joined the board. We had kind of just put that on the back burner for a little while, and I want to bring that back out and have a discussion with the board. And the goal, as you see it, may not be the way it ends or the way it's finalized. It's just written to start a discussion. And the way it's written right now is it says that by the end of the 2018-2019 school year, 75% of our students will be at level 3 or better on all end-of-course or end-of-grade tests, and will be making expected growth. Again, I don't know where that goal ends as far as its final form, but I do, it's there because I want to have this discussion about whether we feel we need a lighthouse for the entire school system to be looking at. And I don't know if lighthouse is the right word, but that's kind of what I think about. And when you look at that goal, I'm looking for something to talk with the board about that it can apply to every child, not a certain child or a certain group of children, but I want to be able to have something that can apply to every child in the school system. So that's kind of where we're headed. Again, I don't know where we end with this. We may end with that between school improvement goals that every school has in their school improvement plan. We may end with that that's enough. But just continually looking for ways that we can get this school system focused in a common direction. And I think we're making a lot of progress there. I think there was a great focus when I got here, a great foundation, but we just need to continue to work on getting better. And this is something that I just want to have a discussion with the board about and see what their thoughts are about having this common goal that can kind of overarching goal over everything we do, that maybe just about everything we do would tie into.
Okay. Dr. Gainey, with the legislature currently in session, what are some of the things that concern you the most at the state level?
Well, Tim, one of the things I'd like to see, I hope eventually we'll get some more local control of our school calendars. Here we are, 2 winters in a row since I've been here as superintendent, where we have struggled to get through the month of January with exams at the high school level. So I know a lot of people would like to be able to change the schedule or the calendars back where we could maybe start a little earlier in August. And we've talked to our legislators about that, and they know where we are with that, at least our local legislators. I would very much love to see us get to where we could start the school year earlier in August and end the semester 1 prior to the winter break. It just seems to be we continue to struggle in January to get exams completed. When the weather comes this year, we had some interruptions during exam week. We were delayed 2 days and missed a day, if my memory serves me correctly. At least I know we missed a day and we were delayed a day during the high school exams. The other delay may have come the week before exams, but it just winds up really making January tough. Now, when you start thinking about some funding issues, I'm very concerned about technology as we continue to move towards more online testing. I'm concerned about we're working hard with the teacher assistant issue over the last couple of years, and we're going to continue to monitor that and make sure we're ready to adjust to any funding changes there. Transportation funding has continued to be a concern of ours, and our legislators worked very hard on our behalf last year, particularly our local legislators, and what started out as a large transportation reduction, I feel like our legislators were very involved in getting it reduced to almost nothing for 14-15 compared to 13-14. Probably another big one out there, or it is another big one out there, is what's going to take place with regard to driver's education funding. That is a concern because we have to provide driver's education to students, and right now, if things are the way they are, the part that the state has been providing, we charge $65 per student for driver's ed, and we've been receiving essentially $192 per student from the state. So you put those two together, and that's how we've been able to provide driver's education. Right now, if something doesn't change, that $192 per student will not be there for the 15-16 school year. So that concerns me a great deal. So there's just a couple of things. We did meet with our legislators, and I mentioned this on a previous interview where I think it was November 24th. Our local legislators came in and they sat down, just sat around the table with us, and we talked and we shared our concerns for the coming budget season. We felt like we needed to get out in front of them instead of waiting until they got to Raleigh back in session and then saying, can you come meet with us? We didn't think that was very fair to them. And we had a great discussion that day, and we have a great relationship with our legislators. And so this is, I think part of this business is we need to be up front with them, and we need to be transparent with them, and we need to be factual with them. And if we don't know, we really are wasting their time if we don't do the research before we have these discussions. And so we're always going to come at it that way. It's not an emotional issue, in my opinion, the budget, because they get faced with some tough things when they go into session. And obviously, if you cut here or if you're going to add here, something's got to give somewhere else. I understand all that. But I also think our role is to give them realistic and factual information. So if you ask me my top issues, those are my big concerns, and We'll see what happens in the legislative session. I know people in this state care dearly about education, public education, and so I'm going to hope for the best, but also I've said this to elected officials before, there's also a time when we need to know what is our budget so we can plan appropriately, and they've been done a good job of that as well. So that's where I am with that, and I'm going to hope for the best because it goes back to something I said earlier today. Everything we do in this school system can be tied back to kids in some way. Even when you're replacing a roof on a building, right, that can be tied back to kids. Right. And so, and sometimes we forget that because we're about academics, but we have a lot of other auxiliary services that allow us to have great educational and academic environments. And so we just need to remember there's a big picture here, and everything that's done budget-wise does tie right back directly to kids.
You know, Dr. Gainey, as I think back over the monthly interviews that we've done, it seems like one of the recurring topics is the 9-year facility plan. And one reason it's recurring is because it's always being updated. So if you would, could you give us the current update on that plan and some of the progress that's been made?
Well, that's been an exciting piece of our progress as a school system, and I've mentioned this before. The county commissioners have been very supportive of that plan. They provided extra funding for this current year. We received an additional $250,000 in our capital outlay funds to fund that plan for our year one of the plan, which was the 2014-2015 school year. When we look back at the progress, we've completed a lot of things in year one, and we may not have completed every single thing 100%, but we've addressed everything. I'm pretty positive at this point we've addressed at least parts of everything in year one. Again, it gives us a roadmap for where we're going. It gives us a roadmap as far as to be able to talk to the county commissioners and our board about what are our needs. If you don't have something like that in place, I think it makes the conversations even more difficult with your elected officials and people who are trying to help you. And so it has, we have things are organized by year. You have roof replacements, you have door replacements, window replacements, some bleacher replacements for athletic facilities, and we have the prices. We did the research in the fall of 2013, so those prices are there. So we know if we can get additional funding, we know what we can use it for. We stand ready to move on some projects. So it's exciting to have that there. It gives our staff direction, and it gives our, like I say, our Board of Education and our county commissioners ideas of the direction we need to go with facilities.
Well, we're now settled into second semester and having a good school year. As we begin this last stretch of the school year, what are some things that are on your mind and some things that you're thinking about as we come down the home stretch?
Well, I tell you what stays on my mind every day. And it's not scientific, Tim. It doesn't have a piece of data attached to it. It doesn't have a letter grade attached to it or anything. There's just, the word, it's a 5-letter word, pride. Mm-hmm. It is there every day. I'm so proud of our students. I'm so proud of our staff members. I mean, just this past week, and let me throw in another group, our parents and community. The parents are just so supportive of us. This past week hasn't been easy on anybody. Everybody's schedules were disrupted this week because of school being canceled. But you talk to people, and their focus is we need to get back in school. We need to get the kids back in routine. I need to get going on my instruction again. I was with a principal the other week, right before the weather occurred, and the principal said, we've just kind of hit, we're in our stride right now. It's been a great year, and so I just want to keep getting better, and let's finish this school year as positively as we can. And so when you ask me what's on my mind, it's just continuing to increase the level of pride in the school system. And one of the things I hope we are doing, and we're not where we need to be, but it's 2 words: trust and transparency. We have got to get the students, the staff, the parents, and the community to trust us, and we have got to continue to work so they feel like we are being transparent with them. We're working extremely hard at that, but I'm also aware that I'm not the evaluator on that, either one of those pieces. It's the stakeholders. It's, you know, so our work, I don't know that it'll ever be done, but we're going to keep working to get better and keep working to improve. Because, you know, when it comes down to it, Tim, it really, everything we do ties back to one thing: the kids. I can tie everything this school system does back to kids. And, you know, if we're doing right by kids, then I think we're satisfying what we should be doing as a school system.
Well, Dr. Gainey, thank you. And thank you to RTV and thank you to the community for supporting the Randolph County School System. We're grateful for the opportunity to share with you, and we will see you next time. Thank you.